BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward. Today, I interviewed Tate Schroder. She was a dynamic Colorado tennis player who survived a tragic school shooting at Arapahoe High School. Unfortunately, that shooting led to the life of a lost person, Claire Davis. And it's Claire who Tate decided to dedicate her high school tennis season to, her college career to, and she would wear her name on her shoes for most of her matches. Her story today is about resiliency, being able to overcome the odds through that adversity in high school, to going on to playing her last 2 years at IMG Academy in Florida, of which then achieving a college scholarship to play at the University of Missouri. Her story is inspiring, impactful, and as a listener, you're going to learn a lot from her testimony of how she wanted to live her life to live on the legacy of Claire. Let's get into it. On today's episode of the BTB Project, today's guest was a standout Colorado junior tennis player who had success into high school. She went to Arapahoe High School, where her sophomore year, she won a one singles state championship. But this was also the year that she survived a school shooting. Claire Davis was a life that was lost far too soon. And today's guest would make it a mission to not only play for Claire, but also play for her community and to represent Arapahoe High School. She went on and was able to train at IMG Academy in Florida, where she finished her last 2 years of high school. And there, she was able to acquire a full-ride tennis scholarship to a Division I school at Missouri. She continued her career to where she was able to play at Clemson and then her final year at TCU. She is now the assistant women's tennis coach at Virginia Tech. Tate Schroder, welcome to the BTB Project.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Coleman Gerhardt, a former athlete and motivational coach. I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living out my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
As we've learned many times on the BTB Project, the Colorado tennis community is rather small, and it's amazing to be sitting in Centennial, Colorado, where my next guest happened to not only grow up, but make a tremendous impact on her community and the state of Colorado. And it just gives me tremendous pleasure to welcome who is now Miss Tate Roast, but we might know her as Tate Schroder. Welcome to the BTB Project.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
No, absolutely. And it's been just a whirlwind for you, I'm sure, trying to pick up the pieces of what it takes to be an assistant college tennis coach. And I would love for you to start by updating the listeners on what life is like for you now and tell us a little bit about your role at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into college coaching this year in August. I am just so beyond lucky to have gotten this opportunity from Terry Ann at Virginia Tech and also Mario at Virginia Tech, and just be part of this awesome staff and help the girls really compete in an ACC, the top conference in college tennis. Really, day to day kind of just looks like making sure that everyone is at weights on time, going to weights, making sure that everything's good there, going to practice, getting everything ready with both admin, and then also just helping out with any equipment needs or just really anything that the girls need in general, and then getting to work on the courts and helping them out there. And then some things might come up day to day that just need to be addressed, but overall, we're there to empower and support the girls and help them become the best athletes on the court and the best students and people off the court as well. So
I love how you say empowered, because you and I both know when you're battling in the trenches of a tennis court that you got to have a lot of self-confidence. You got to feel good. You got to feel supported. And just remembering back in the day on how you played the game of tennis, has it been fun for you to start feeding into these student athletes and maybe kind of give yourself an opportunity to maybe say things to these young ladies that you maybe wanted to have when you were in college?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been so rewarding so far. I was telling Terry Ann this the other day, but it's genuinely the first time in the last 2 years of my professional career that I've been like just ecstatic to go to work, ecstatic to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to work. I mean, those days are hard, but I'm just so excited to see the girls accomplish new things and get better than they were before the day before, and just keep pushing past things that they didn't think that they could do. And yeah, just be there to support them. I think my freshman year of college was really hard and really hard on my teammates and I. And we went through a lot of things that were really just really difficult. And it was a difficult environment, but I just hope to be there for the girls to keep on encouraging them and help them believe in themselves when they can't, and teach them that believing in yourself is one of the most important things that you can gather from a college, from being a collegiate athlete, because that just transforms your life after college, and just having confidence in your everyday life is so important.
And I appreciate you touching on your college journey, which we'll definitely dive into. But when it comes to just the ACC in general, I know that you spent some time at Clemson and competed against Virginia Tech. What does that landscape look like today compared to when you were playing? Is it still as competitive as it used to be?
My freshman year, I felt like the SEC, like that was a very, very strong conference my freshman year. And now it's really transitioned into the ACC from what we can see. I mean, last year was an all ACC final with the two teams being in the final, and it was an all UNC doubles final. And then, yeah, so, I mean, it's just a very tough conference. I think I want to say 9 teams from the ACC finished in the top 20 last year. And then with Stanford and Cal and SMU joining, those are all really strong teams as well. And so it's only going to get tougher from here. But yeah, I mean, it's been a tough conference, and with kind of this new approach to college tennis, where a lot of players who have been playing on the tour are coming in and able to train at the college level. I think it's only raising the level really in every conference a lot higher, which makes it exciting, really, because that's where you get better, is competing against this top talent every single week in and week out, especially in the ACC. I mean, there's no easy match in the ACC. Every match is going to be a grind, and is going to be hard and mentally challenging. So it really helps these athletes really grow and get tough, and also helps you get better. It helps you get so much better just in tennis and in general, and just building that toughness for the real world.
Now, your toughness was instilled, it sounds like, at a very young age, and there's not a lot of people, and I've been so fortunate on the BTB Project to interview a lot of them, but there's not a lot of people from Colorado that have the decorated tennis resume like you have. And it's just always astonishing to me to see how high altitude tennis, how Intermountain tennis. I mean, listen, most of the country salivates when they play a national tournament and they see an Intermountain kid in the first round. So you've really had to create a tremendous amount of perspective to get to where you're now as a college coach. I would love for you to walk the listeners through, how did tennis start for Tate?
Well, it's kind of funny. So it started because I actually started fairly late. Like I started when I was like 9.5 or 10, which is late for tennis,
Yeah.
and we talked about this, how you started late as well. But I mean, kids start when they're like 3 or 4 years old. And so yeah, I did start fairly late because I had tried almost every other sport and nothing really clicked. I mean, the last sport that I played before I started tennis was baseball with the boys, with a team with the Denver Pal.
Nice.
Yeah. So I started playing baseball with the boys, and I was actually really good with hand-eye coordination. And so my stepfather, who was my coach, he was like, all right, you have good hand-eye coordination. Like, let's put you in tennis. Like there's good scholarship opportunities in tennis. So, so he stuck me in tennis, and I watched Maria Sharapova win. She was like in a sparkly tennis dress, and she had the trophy on her head, and I was like, I want to do that someday. So yeah, I started out the first day that I played. I had a blast, but I started crying because I couldn't hit a backhand on the first day that I played. So but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the start to the career, and I just fell in love with it and kind of never looked back from that time. But I mean, there's, as you know, Colorado tennis there's a lot of challenges for junior players. Like there's almost a lack of accessibility for just with court time and everything like that, as you know, in the winter when it gets cold or when it's snowing. And then, I mean, we can have winters extend until like early May sometimes. Like I remember the state tournament always getting snowed out the first weekend, which was in May. But yeah, I mean, it can be really hard sometimes. And I think the fact that just having that desire to try to keep pushing through, and my stepdad was my coach and also my fitness coach as well. And we did everything that we could to, what we couldn't do on the court with the limited court time that we did have, we could do off the court, which was a lot of running, a lot of hiking, like a lot of running up hills and a lot of running around the track and a lot of jump roping, a lot of box jumps, like everything that you could possibly imagine for athletic development. We did. And all of it was at Inverness, which was definitely kind of the birthplace of where I trained and everything. So, but yeah, I think just having, like, not being like a lot of tennis players in Florida, they can go next door pretty much year round and just go to their public court and have a player that lives next door to them, and then they can play for hours at a time because there's just such an amazing pool of talent in Florida. I mean, obviously there's dedication at every level to get to where you want to be, but I think the toughness that I learned just from having to either get up at like 5 a.m. or go at like 9 o'clock at night to be able to get any court time in the winter. And then also having lessons with my coach, Peter, at the time. And then also playing with the 5-0 men's doubles league because I couldn't get any court time. I think that those things like really kind of instilled just the desire to keep playing, because it wasn't like it was just easy for me to go do something, like to go next door and find a court. It was a challenge. And I'm just grateful that I had parents that were just sacrificed so much for me so that they could provide me with the opportunities to keep pursuing my dreams. Kind of instilled a toughness and just a desire to keep it getting better because it wasn't accessible. And that's definitely a challenge for Colorado tennis that I hope that we're able to tackle someday just for juniors. And because we have great juniors, I think we just need to give them more opportunities with that.
No, that's well said, and amazing you bring up Inverness, because I had the opportunity to coach with your former coach, Peter, back in the day, and my daughter, she's climbing the ranks of tournaments, and ironically enough, played the last ever tournament at Inverness before they closed their doors last month. So to your point, accessibility is one thing, but yeah, it closed.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad.
It got bought by a condominium developer. So
oh no,
that is what we're facing here in Colorado is the pickleball movement and condominium developers.
Yeah, I mean, pickleball is great. It's a great way to get active, but I just wish it was a little bit. Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
No, I agree. We're on the same page. So, your stepdad, I believe he had, did he have a law enforcement background? Is that correct?
He did. He was a Denver Police Department officer for many years. I want to say it was 25 or maybe 24
Wow.
with DPD. He now works for the ATF in Florida, but yeah, he did have a law enforcement background. So he helped me get tough.
No, I think that resonates a lot because, who I remember you as was our connection through high school tennis. And I've been very fortunate to not only be a Colorado native, but to still be in high school tennis going on 16 and a half years, not to age myself, but I love it. I love the ability to give back to that age between 14 and 18 and help these, guys and gals become not only the best tennis players that they can be, but to be student athletes, to understand time management, to understand how to be tough so that when they enter the real world, they're able to give back. They're able to be good husbands and fathers. They're able to give back to their own children if they ever, decide to have kids. It's just been a tremendous fruit to the labor, and being able to understand, your path in high school. I think it's rather unique because I usually see kids for 4 years, and I know that you did not spend 4 years at high school here in Colorado, but I'd love for you to walk the listeners through when you decided that, heck, I'm going to give this high school tennis thing a shot. And do you remember that freshman year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always been so drawn to the idea of being on a team. Like, I think that that's always been something that I've like really genuinely looked forward to. That's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just always kind of been something that I've always wanted to do, is just being on a team and have friends and have sisters that you'll be able to like be close with later on. And so I think for me, like, it wasn't really a question of whether or not I would play like at least my first 2 years, because obviously junior and senior year are so important for tennis. And with the spring timing, it can be a little bit difficult with going to some of those key tournaments, but definitely for my freshman and sophomore year, there wasn't really a question of whether or not I would play.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of fun to give back and like be like to play tennis for your high school. I mean, it's like, it's just fun to be able to get dressed up for game day in the hallways with your teammates and stuff like that, or wear like the jackets and stuff like that. As silly as it sounds, it's always really fun. But yeah, I played my freshman year. I think I got fourth that year, and it was just
That was a loaded state draw, though. By the way, like you're going in, you're the youngster, and there's some heavy hitters there from what I remember, and you can name drop too. I know a few of them.
Yeah, it was definitely that was a really competitive year of high school tennis. I mean, there was Kelly Woodman,
Yep.
Katie Kuzman, Bria Smith, and then Nicole Calhorn and Rebecca Weissmann. So that was all 5A, which was definitely a really hard year for high school tennis. I played one that year. I played one both years, but I played one, and then I went to state, got to the semis, had a really tough match with Nicole Calhorn. Yeah. And I just remember articles being made afterwards about how I was really upset after the match. And I don't know. I mean, looking back, I was a 15-year-old kid. Like, I mean, I was competitive, and sometimes that side comes out, but yeah, I just thought that those articles were kind of silly because you're putting so much pressure on 15-year-old kids to try to act like Roger Federer on the court when that's obviously not going to be like
right. But then to be expected to be a human being at the same time, as you said, being 14 or 15 and a writer being in your face to interview you, or a camera in your face to be like, how did it go?
I mean, that was just silly. It's silly looking back at it now, but it seemed like everything when it was happening, like, oh my gosh, like everyone's going to hate me after this. But yeah, it was great talent. Lost to Nicole Calhorn in the semis in 3 sets. And I lost to Katie Kuzman. I think she was at Fairview. Yeah. I lost to her. Like, I think it was a crazy, like, long match. It was a big third set, and I can't remember the score, but it was both were really long matches. And actually, I think that year I drew Kelly Woodman first round of state, which was really weird because she had just won state the year before.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, so it was a really tough draw, but yeah, we had a great match. Kelly's awesome. She's a fantastic player. And so it was great to get to always train with her growing up and stuff like that. But yeah, that year happened. And then I just remember like the articles being made and there were like some comments made in the articles. And then I kind of was like ready for the next year. I was like, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do something, like I'm going to win. Like I wanted to win so bad the next year. And then the next year Arapahoe happened because I was at Arapahoe High School and I was 15. It was December. Yeah, obviously that terrible day happened. It was really just one of the most scared moments I've ever had in my life. It was really just a tremendously terrifying day for everyone. And it was really heartbreaking, our community. And especially given that I feel like now we can kind of see it happening. We're almost every day where we're kind of numb to it. I feel like it hadn't gotten to that point at like in 2013, I want to say.
Right.
And also the media coverage wasn't as like glaring as it is now, like with social media being like just absolutely everything that we consume now. And so I just remember it being a really big deal. Like I remember because we were like, it's 2 or 3 miles away from Columbine or something like that. Like it was just like kind of something that everyone was pointing out. And that day was just like one of the hardest days ever. And it was really tragic to see, like looking back at it now, like and seeing, I have two sisters who are 17 and 15 and knowing that like I was younger than like I was like younger and the same age that they are now.
Yeah.
And like to think that if anything ever happened like that to them, like how devastated I would be as an older sister, or like how my parents, like just like knowing that your kid is in the school when something like that is happening. I mean, it's just devastating for everyone involved, not just the people who are in the school, but the whole community, because it's just a huge grieving, just horrific thing that could happen.
And that's what, I mean, Tate, full transparency, you and I both know that this is a part of your story, but you never wanted this to be part of your story. And it was a very challenging time. And it was, from what I remember, we were talking about this before we hopped on, is, I'm a junior at Ponderosa High School, and I remember our classroom stopped and they wheel in a TV on a cart and we start watching what's happening at Columbine. And ironically enough, my wife, she went to Green Mountain, but her brother and sister were not only Columbine students, but in the building that day.
Yeah.
And it resonated with me heavily because my former teammate, Peter Wyrick, he's a former player at Arapahoe and now back there as a history teacher and both the boys and girls tennis coach. And I just remember when I saw the news of that happening, Tate, at your school, it hit me pretty hard. A lot of the things that you were saying and some of the words and some of these feelings, it literally resurfaced verbatim what I was feeling in those moments.
Absolutely.
And I think what's really important here, and I think you're setting up a tremendous amount of context is, and I just heard it in your voice, is, you're a competitive person. You go out and work your tail off. But in that moment, when life, punches you in the face, you have perspective. And I just would love for you to share in that moment when you were going through that, what did it mean for you to, were you in the building that day and what perspective was going on?
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Because for that day, like, I just remember, like, I remember that day so vividly, like now looking back at it, I think your brain kind of just like will go and remember details that like you didn't really pick up at the time. Like when I don't know, like I remember what the field looked like driving in, like it just kind of like keeps collecting these moments just when it's such a traumatic and tragic thing that like you just remember at the back of your mind. It just keeps kind of like you keep piecing things together. And like, I just remember going there and I was so stressed about this math test that I had, because I was traveling all the time for tennis, and it was hard with school, and Arapahoe is such a fantastic school that it's always like, it was always really such a grind for me there. And yeah, I just remember like all my friends and I were at lunch, and one of my best friends had her birthday that day, like her birthday party that night, because it was a Friday. And we were all so excited. We were talking about what we were going to wear, all this stuff. And then one of my friends and I, we were, sorry, Mom, if you're listening to this, but we were kind of deciding, do I ditch my class to go study, or what do I do? Like, do I like, I'm so scared about this test, but I ended up going to class. So Mom, you can't be mad at me, but yeah, I ended up going to class, and everything is getting started. We like started on our review packet and everything. And then like, and it's weird because like, I can't remember, because when it happened, it was across the hall. Like it was pretty much like directly across the hall from us. And I can't remember exactly like if I heard like the noise or what I heard, because it was just kind of chaotic, but there was definitely something like where everyone kind of just froze. Like we were just like, whoa, okay. And then all of a sudden we hear like over the intercom, like lockdown, get in place, like all this stuff. And at that point, like, cause you never go to school. Like, I feel like now that might be a thing, like in a public place. Like, I think about it all the time now, but it's probably just because of the experience that I've had. But I think a lot of kids now think about it when they're going to school, which is horrible. And it's not something that they should be thinking about when they go to school. But yeah, like you never think that that's going to happen to you. Like you're like, oh my gosh, Columbine was so tragic. Like it's not going to happen to me. Like it's not going to happen to my school. Like we're safe. You just don't think about it.
Right.
And yeah, and then we heard the lockdown, and it was weird because we usually only had like one lockdown drill per semester. And this was like the second. So we were like, oh, this is weird. Like, I wonder why we're having a drill today. And like, because we didn't know that there was going to be a drill. And then like I just remember us like hiding under our desks, or we weren't hiding under our desks yet, but we were kind of sitting. But then I started like, everyone kind of started to get a bunch of texts in from like their family and their friends and stuff being like, are you okay? And I remember thinking like, this is really weird. Like what's going on? Because we didn't know what was going on. And then we started to hear like a lot of noises in the school, like, and it was in reality, like looking back at it now, everything like the shooting had already been done, but it was like a bunch of people kind of moving in and out, I think. But I just remember like hearing the police yell, like kind of their clearing words, like in the hallway. But at the time, like, how are you going to know what that is? Like, It's just like, you're hearing people screaming in the hallway. And then we started hiding under our desk and like, just looking around the room, everyone was kind of crying and like, just, and looking back at it now, I mean, just a room of 15 or 16-year-olds crying. Like, I can't even imagine that, like seeing like a classroom full of like my little sister or her friends, like in that same situation. So it's just always like weird to think about it now. But, and then I just remember like us sitting under our desk, my best friend Courtney and I were sitting there, and we started praying because we just didn't know what was going on. And that's kind of all we could think to do to help, because we just felt so helpless. Then I remember a kid goes, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's Friday the 13th and the day before the Sandy Hook anniversary. And then that's when everyone got like really, really, really scared, because that's when it kind of was like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Like something's not right. Like this is not okay. This isn't good.
Wow. So you're saying in the moment, Tate, that there was enough kind of, themes, obviously, 9/11 has been a significant date. Columbine's been a significant date. Like you're saying in the moment, there was someone in the class that had enough recognition of Friday the 13th that they brought that up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the day before Sandy Hook.
Wow.
It was very jarring. I mean, I've never remembered like someone saying those words like so vividly, just because like, yeah, just people had Twitter. I didn't have a Twitter at the time because I wasn't really allowed on social media. But yeah, I mean, people are on Twitter, and it's like saying reports of multiple shooters or saying reports of multiple fatalities. And we're in the school and we have no idea what's going on. We just hear a bunch of shouting. We like just a bunch of shouting, a lot of banging, like just that, like noises that you have no idea what's going on. Like just every time you hear a noise, you flinch because you think that someone's going to come into your room and kill you, you know, like,
Yeah.
and kids sitting by the door acting as guards when they're 15 or 16 years old, like, and just seeing them in that moment kind of try to like kids having to pretend to be heroes because of how difficult the situation is. And yeah, and then we were released. The police came to our door. I believe they slid a badge under the door.
Okay.
And then we ran, like sprinted out of the classroom. They told us to run as fast as we could out the doors, and we ran across the street. And my stepdad was following everything because I texted him as soon, because him being a police officer, we always went over these scenarios. We always went through the most random scenarios just to like
sure.
be prepared and stuff like that. And I used to roll my eyes at it, but like, I guess for that situation it worked. But we just kind of, I was texting him because I was like, something's not right. Something's going on. Like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, okay, well, can you get out of the building? I said, no, like we're in a lockdown. Like I can't leave. And there's no, like the glass is bulletproof, so I can't get out. It's like, okay, stay there. You're in the safest place that you can be. I'll come to the school and see what's going on. So he was there, and I called him. Like, I remember the service, like no one could call anyone because everyone was trying to reach someone that they loved on the phone.
Right.
And so we finally like met, but he picked me up from the King Soopers across the street out of Arapahoe. I don't know if you've been there, but there's like a Chipotle. They're like
all the time.
Yeah.
Get my Starbucks coffee there. So yeah.
Yeah. So he picked me up there and we went home, and I just remember coming home because I was getting ready to go to practice that day. We come home and I see the TV and I see my school on Fox News, like just with helicopters and multiple SWAT cars around it, and like people in completely armed gear and crime tape, like all around this school, the school that I loved and that like I felt safe at. Like that was my safe space, because tennis is like, was always really hard for me sometimes. I mean, I was pushed really, really hard in tennis, in both like at the home by my parents, which is great. I mean, it's made me who I am, but it was definitely hard sometimes. But school was my safe place where I felt like I could like hang out with my friends and just have fun, you know? And so, yeah, it was difficult to see an image of my school with just being taped and looking like a crime scene, you know? And I'll never forget just coming home and seeing that. And then my stepdad saying, okay, you don't have to practice today.
Right. That's probably the only thing that's going to, get you out of practice. Right.
Yeah, just,
and I mean, I appreciate you so much for having the vulnerability to walk back through that. I know that there's nobody on the face of the earth that ever has to feel the way that you felt in that classroom. And I think it does, again, provide a lot of context into some of the next steps in your life and on the tennis courts. And I would love for you to kind of get into that. I mean, do you remember the day that you first went back to practice? And I mean, you know, at 16 and a half years coaching high school tennis, if I was a head coach of Arapahoe and my kids are coming back from that, man, tennis seems to be a pretty small, minuscule thing at that point.
Absolutely. And, you know, I loved my high school coach at Arapahoe, Andre Sosnowski. He was awesome. Like, he's just such a positive person, and he was a great tennis coach. And he was awesome. I just appreciated him so much. But, yeah, I mean, I went to practice like 2 days after, actually. And that was really hard for me because it was indoors and like the tarps were really loud, and I was like still like very like shaken and everything. And I just remember like going there and everyone's like, why are you here? Go home. Like what's wrong with you? Right. But it was probably good for me to go and see people that I was comfortable with. But I mean, yeah, it was definitely still jarring, and I just didn't feel like a real person. Like it was just a very weird experience for a little bit, because everywhere I went, like, I'd be like, oh, like, what high school do you go to? And I go Arapahoe, and then they'd be like, oh, are you okay? Like, just and it's just a weird thing. Or they would like make a comment like about the shooter or about something like that, and like I don't think people realize sometimes. Yeah, it's because you want to be sympathetic, but sometimes like the best thing you can do is just like kind of do something that's nonverbal, because like it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's always weird. It's weird. I think in tragedy, people always do their best to be supportive, but sometimes it's almost like they're doing it to make themselves feel better in a way sometimes, which is interesting. And but yeah, I definitely noticed that a lot. And I noticed just the media. I mean, it was crazy, like how some of my friends were being harassed by reporters after that. And like that just really, it was really tough to see, like kind of the hounding nature of media sometimes, which I get it. They're trying to get a story, but yeah, I mean, we're all kids at the end of the day, or people making it political, which there's definitely things that need to change in our country, but you got to know your time and place, right? You're not doing it at a rally for kids who had just went through the most traumatizing thing that they're ever going to experience. Like, you're not doing that then. Like, you got to know the time and place, or using it in some way. And what was the
focus of the season at that point, Tate? I mean, you guys are standing there with your coach, and you know, I believe this happened relatively early in the season, so you still kind of had the rest of the season to still play.
It was in December. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So season started in, when did high school tennis start? Is it February?
Yeah, it's typically February and ends in May, when there's still snow on the courts, probably.
When there's snow on the courts. So yeah, I remember shoveling. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I think the focus for kind of everything that year was being supportive of one another. I mean, Michael and Desiree Davis, the way that they stepped into a role that they should have never had to step into, and brought a community together that was so heartbroken and so torn. I'll never forget that. And I think a lot of people can say that for anything that happens, like any tragic situation, but their lessons that, like, we had a back to school speech, like it was because we had a really long winter break, because they obviously had to clear up the school and everything. I mean, the whole library was set on fire, and we couldn't use the library anymore. And they had to block things off that we couldn't use. We couldn't go into a couple different classrooms and stuff like that. But once we got back to school, it was that Friday that we got back, we had an assembly with Michael and Desiree Davis, and they gave a speech that will always stick with me for the rest of my life. Consciously and deliberately choosing to love. And because if you do that, you'll have strength for the battle to carry on. That just, because when you're consciously and deliberately loving people, it comes from a place that is actually caring and not controlling. And it's wanting to lead them to a place where they can be themselves and where they can thrive, you know? So, and actually being there for each other, being selfless, being a selfless and compassionate person and leader in life, by consciously and deliberately choosing to love one another on a daily basis. That message for kids in high school who just went through a horrible tragedy, in a community that went through a horrible tragedy, I can't think of a better message, truly. Like, I mean, I really, for them to do that was just really, really special. And I will always just try to be as thankful and as compassionate and loving that I can in my life because of that, and because of their daughter. So I think that was kind of the theme for our focus for the season was consciously and deliberately choosing to love. And when you do that, you're giving your best effort, you're helping your teammates, you're helping your friends, you're doing the right thing. And so that year, yeah, that season, it just meant more, like, to everyone. I think because I think I had a couple, I had a couple other teammates that also won state that year. We've had our best finish in Arapahoe history for state. We got third that year, and we were in first place, like we were like tied for first place with Creek and Fairview in the first day. So, which
Yeah,
is like
that's
unheard of
unheard
because
of.
it just doesn't really happen with Arapahoe sometimes. But um, yeah, and I think that was the focus, and we just wanted to do things the right way and do our best and really try to help a community that was grieving in the only way that we knew how. Like for me, tennis was the only, I couldn't donate money, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, but what I could do was try to show up every day on the court to help either bring awareness or just try to do things that that Claire couldn't be able to do after the tragedy happened. So,
And I believe you did just that, Tate. I mean, it kind of resonates with me and makes more sense now, knowing what play for Claire really meant, and hearing that that kind of nugget about her parents addressing the school. I mean, that is just unbelievable. And I am glad that you brought up some of the history in Colorado high school tennis, because you're kind of setting up a framework of why I coach. I love finding ways to create kind of more of an underdog story. Myself, when I was playing, 15 of the 16 guys at number one singles all had Division I scholarships, and it was just absolutely loaded. And I knew that I would have to kind of do something pretty remarkable to go on and play college tennis. And, you know, somehow, some way I was able to do that. But going back to this season for you and knowing what happened the year before, knowing kind of your pedigree and what makes you tick, having this experience happen, and then going to that state championship. You know, the lineage in my life, my uncle played high school tennis at Wheat Ridge High School. And there's an old saying back in the day where, you know, Wheat Ridge beat Creek in 1996 to break their bajillionth state title streak. And it was one of the most incredible stories. And that's kind of what I've been inspired by, is incredible stories. And so when I was coaching at the time at Regis Jesuit, I remember being at that state tournament and getting to watch you play. And I just walk me through in your mind when you go on the court and you have Play for Claire on your shoes. With all due respect, who's going to beat you? Honestly, I mean, you had to have been, and I appreciate you sharing about how tennis has been tough on you, that you were pushed. So there was a lot of times where it was all about Tate. This wasn't about Tate at all. This was about you and representing your team, representing your school, representing Claire, representing a community.
Yeah.
What did it mean for you to take the court at the state championships in, what was it, 2014?
Yeah. I mean, it really meant the world. I mean, because it was, like I said, it was like the only thing that I knew that I could do to try to help in a way, even though it seems kind of like insignificant. I mean, it just like, that was the only thing I knew that I could do, right? That was the only way I knew I could help, was to do something that I was so passionate about and that I put in so much effort into, and try to do it in a way that, that it meant more than just me and just the individual, just Arapahoe. But all of us that year, I mean, that was the goal. It was playing for Claire. We had a patch on our shirt. We had patches like everywhere, with the CD, ribbon and everything. And that was the goal for all of us. But it's kind of funny. I mean, for state, it was, honestly, I can't remember the matches that I played. I think I played Katie Lee from Fairview in the semifinals.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact draw, but I knew at the end, I was going to have to play Rebecca Weissmann.
Yep.
And Becca is someone I adore. Becca Weissmann. She is just the nicest, just heart of gold, great girl.
Yeah, we
like,
talked
she's just
about
an
it
awesome person,
before we
awesome
hopped on. I
leader.
got to coach her when I was working with Jeff Salzenstein when she was itty bitty. I coached many Weissmans, to be honest. And yeah, great family, great kid. And, you know, for all practical purposes, on paper, she was supposed to beat you that day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my whole career, because I started a lot later, and I had to kind of work my way up, and there were some great players out of Colorado, and Becca was always the one to beat, because she was always winning the national tournament. She was always doing this, always doing that. She was always the one to beat. And that state round, I remember there was like a huge article written about her before, saying that it was basically going to be easy for her to repeat her state title. And
what did that mean to you, Tate, reading that?
So I
gotta been fired up reading that, right?
For me, that was 100%, because I'm a competitor at the end of the day. Like, yes. I am very, very, very competitive, and I loved competing against Becca, because we always had great matches and always very competitive, always very sportsmanlike, like very clean matches. And she's a fantastic competitor, fantastic person as well. And we just had great matches. But I was like, you know what, like this year, I want to do this. Like, I want to win state. Like, I need to win state. Like, I just kept thinking, like, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And honestly, when I got to the final, I was like, it's kind of funny, because I didn't think that I could win. Like, before, like, I wanted to win so bad, but I honestly didn't think I could win, just because Becca was like such a amazing player, and just like, I looked up to her so much, and she was really hyped up and everything. Yeah. And so I really didn't think I could win.
I was going to ask when you thought you were going to be able to win, because the moment you were able to get back into the season, going all the way back to the beginning of the year, I mean, did you ever think in your mind, like, oh my gosh, this happens to our community, I'm going to go win it all?
Yeah. You know,
did you ever think about that?
I thought like that. Yeah. It's weird, because I thought like that, and like, I knew, like, deep down, I knew I was gonna win. Like, for some, like, I don't know if this makes sense, but then when I, like, right the day before I played, I was like, I don't know, like, I'm happy to be in the final. Like, I'm just gonna go compete. Like, but like, I don't know, we'll see how it goes, basically. But like, I had a deep down feeling that like I was gonna win. Like, I don't know why. I just kind of, like, I felt at peace either way, but like, I knew what I needed to do for the community. And then I think after the first couple games, I was like, okay, I want to win. Like, I'm going to win. I kept just like thinking that in my mind, like, I'm going to win this match. I'm going to win this match. And so, yeah, I think I won the first set, like 6-2 or something like that. And then I was up 5-2 in the second. She came back to 5-4. And then I ended up, I think it was 2-4. I could be completely wrong with the score, but yeah, it was a great match. But I just remember that moment, and like having my teammates there, and having my family there, having friends there, just like kind of what it meant to like my friend group, and then also just like my family, and yeah, my teammates, and just the Arapaho community. I think I hope I tried to help in the best way I could. And that was like one of the first things that I always wanted to mention in any interview, was just that's what it meant. Like, that was for Claire. Like, that was for Arapaho. That wasn't for, because at the end of the day, like, in terms of being recruited and being like nationally ranked and stuff like that, high school tennis doesn't have as much significance. I mean, I think it shows great, like, looking at it now, I love seeing girls who play high school tennis who are top juniors, because I think it adds a level of being on a team that you don't get like until you get to college. And I think teamwork is it can be an unteachable thing sometimes, that you have to learn when you get to college, especially for tennis. And I love to see it, like, when I'm recruiting now. But really, at the end of the day, like, in terms of like national results, or like national rankings, or whatever rankings that you have, it doesn't, at least when I was like coming up, it didn't really mean that much. So, but I was like, okay, this doesn't matter for this, but this matters to me
Yeah.
at a personal level. Like this matters to my family, my community, at a personal level. And this is what I need to do. So
How often during that tournament were you looking down at your shoes?
I would say a lot. You know, I wanted to write it on my arm, but I wasn't allowed to write things on my mom didn't my parents didn't want it to look like I had like a huge tat at the age of 15. So so
Yeah.
I didn't have it on my arm, but I was like, okay, well I'm gonna draw it on my shoes. So
That's
but yeah, I mean I kept tapping my shoes like with my racket a lot and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I remember seeing
Um
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I definitely tried to have it be something that was like my center point and like my focus. Like after you win a point, after you lose a point, like get up, get down, whatever you need, take your time and then remember what you're doing it for. And I tried to continue that into college as well. Like I would always write something on my arm. Like I used to always write fearless on my arm and like
Mm.
try to like tap it like every point because I just wanted to try to keep willing myself to be fearless. And also I put Claire on my arm too. So it's still something that I played with in college. It wasn't just that, but yeah, I think that the shoes was like all over everywhere, but yeah.
No, that's what an awesome experience that we were able to walk through with you, and we appreciate you getting into kind of the nuances of something that was creating history for not just your community but for your school, and to represent something that was bigger than you. And I think that is a testament to who you are today, and you know what segued into what I believe is really neat, how you made the decision to forego your last 2 years of Colorado high school tennis. You went to the academy setting at IMG in Florida. And I'd love for you to talk about how, this experience that you went through in high school propelled you into that academy experience to then be propelled you to, being recruited, and
Yeah.
to your college career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, I had gone to camps at IMG Bolletary, what it was Bolletary, and then it like got completely rebranded by the time that I went there for high school. But I'd gone to camps there from the time that I was like 12 until like I actually went there full time. And I always wanted to go there. Like that was that was like just an absolute dream for me. I wanted to just go there and I wanted to go to school there and just train all day there. I loved it so much. Like I just ate up every minute. It was just like a total playground for me. I remember like when I was 12 years old after my first camp, because I mean, it is expensive. Like many people cannot afford it.
Yeah.
And so there was no way that we that we could have done it. But I like wrote a letter to like Nick Bolletary and like the whole IMG staff saying that I would like sweep the floors for free if I could play tennis there.
Oh,
for
that's
free.
so cool.
I have no
I didn't know
idea
you did
what happened
that.
with the letter, or I mean, they probably get like thousands of them daily, but I just remember that's how bad I wanted to go there. I was like, I will sweep and mop your floors for free and just let me come play there, which is so.
No, I mean, ridiculous. I can relate. When I did my academy experience, Tate, I mean, when I was in Arizona, I lived at an old abandoned women's shelter away from the resort because I couldn't afford to stay in the condominium. So yeah. I was 3 blocks off site, cockroaches on my face at night, mattress on the floor, and I did all of the water buckets. There was 18 clay courts, and I did everything I could to make ends meet. And I know that, your parents made a tremendous sacrifice too. I believe your mom helped out in some sort of capacity too at IMG. And
yeah, so she was the director of game day entertainment and the cheerleaders for the Broncos for 22 years, which was her dream job. She absolutely loved it. And we got an opportunity where basically they wanted me to play there for tennis. They just didn't really have scholarship. It was always like interesting for tennis. They had very few scholarships.
That's what I understand.
They were able to do it like jointly with my mom getting offered a job there because my mom also, they also really liked my mom, but they had to kind of find the right fit for her to work there. And so the opportunity came, and it was something that we had been dreaming about, like kind of as a family for a really long time. I mean, that was something that it was too good to turn down, really. Like, I mean, there was just nothing that it was kind of key in where I wanted to go next. And just to give me the best opportunity of whether I wanted to go to college and then play pro, or go to, like, just give me the best opportunity to keep playing, because as you know, Colorado tennis, it's very difficult. I mean, it's once you get to a certain level, it can be very difficult to keep improving, especially when all the kids, all the girls that I played with all had left those last 2 years. Like Rebecca Weissmann left, and also Sam Martinelli left. Like everyone was leaving Colorado so that they could go to an academy somewhere, or they were being homeschooled so that they could play more tennis. And I was already a little bit behind. And so we felt like I needed to kind of catch up. And so that was the decision that we made. And it was a fantastic decision. And I loved IMG. I mean, it's just a tremendous place for athletes to grow and to thrive and really get the college experience as a junior, and then be prepared for when you go to college, because it's structured like a college schedule. And also you're lifting when a lot of tennis players do not lift until they go to college. And so, yeah, it's a great environment for athletes. And I loved it. It was a total dream come true for me. I had been dreaming about it since I was 12 years old, and that's all I wanted to do, was just go to IMG. So was
there any aspect of it that was a grind? Because I remember my academy experience. So, I mean, 2 coaches from Poland, they spoke 2 words of English, and it was run and the S word. And I heard that for 13 months. Right. And it was a grind. Like, to your point, absolutely. I loved it. I loved the opportunity. I was grateful, but you got to be grinding there, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I want to say 4 hours of tennis and then 1 hour of fitness. And then if you wanted to do privates or individuals, then you did it outside of that time. So a lot of times it was Friday nights. I worked with Pat Harrison, who's a tremendous coach and tremendous person. The Harrison family is just, I just have so much gratitude for them. They helped me so much. And Pat is just a fantastic person and human being. His whole family, I just adore their family. So yeah, I worked with him, and I just remember we would work with him 6 to 7:30 Friday nights. And after a whole week of school, after a whole week of training, doing that and just playing and getting better, and just kind of being like, okay, this, it's fine. This is what I have to do to be as good as I want to be. This is what I have to do to get to the next level, kind of taking it day by day. Okay, this is what I need to do. This isn't, it's not a debate. This isn't, I'm not going to back down from it. I just have to kind of face it. And I think that mindset really helped me for college, because I mean, no matter, junior tennis, you're playing so much tennis. You're playing 6 hours a day. And in college, you don't necessarily play that much a day, but it's even more of a grind in college.
Yeah, the intensity is,
because you're dealing with school, dealing with team stuff, you're dealing with other things that you want to do, and then you're going to really, really hard and focused practices. And so that, I think, at IMG prepared me for the lifestyle that I had in college, and especially my freshman year, when it was the hardest year I have ever experienced with tennis and fitness. That if I didn't go to IMG, I don't think I would have been prepared. I don't think I would have had the mental capacity or just the tennis or fitness skills. Fitness, my stepdad got me in really good shape. I mean, that fitness has always been something that's been really important. And but definitely the tennis skills I would not have been ready for.
Yeah. So, I mean, Missouri, Clemson, TCU. And I know that you keep talking about that first year at Missouri. I want to touch on it just for a second. I mean, listen, adversity, you've been entrenched in it in numerous times in your life. I don't know all the nuances or the ins and outs of Missouri or what happened, but at a high level, when it comes to that experience, how did it impact you, and how did it propel you forward when you did get the opportunity to transfer to Clemson?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a great year. I had a fantastic team. I loved my team, and I won't get into too many details, but I mean, we had a really tough coach, and it was very difficult that year, and but yeah, we really came together, and I mean, I improved so much on the tennis court. I improved so much that year, and I got so much tougher. I went through a lot of things that made me very, very tough as an athlete and a tennis player. And then I was able to transfer to Clemson, which was one of my dream schools growing up. I mean, I really wanted to play in my first and foremost, my dream was to play in the SEC, and I was able to do that at Mizzou. But I also loved the big Southern schools, like the Clemsons, the Georgias, like, I always wanted to play like at a big Southern football school. And so I was able to go to Clemson, and I got to play under the coaching of Nancy Harris, who is a total college tennis legend. Nancy is just
I mean, her name's come up a lot. I've been able to have folks like Dick Gould on the podcast from Stanford. I mean, there's some Greg Patton, he was on from Boise State. I mean, there's some college tennis OGs out there, and she's certainly one of them.
And the thing about Nancy, while she's an incredible coach and a fantastic coach, she's an even more incredible person. I have never experienced a more positive person than Nancy Harris, and a more caring and a more loving person than Nancy Harris. I mean, when people say that they really love their players, like, she really loves her players. She is just a fantastic person. And she also just teaches you so much about life as well. Like, I just remember having like the most amazing conversations with her about life. Like, and she would just go, Tiger, it's okay. Like, we'll get it next time. Like, she just always talked like that. And I always say this phrase now, and no one really knows what I'm talking about, but like, you could tell her the worst news on the planet, and she'd be like, bummer, Tiger. Like, that was all she would say. And you'd be like, okay, well, I don't want to hear that right now, Nance. But also, it kind of teaches you, like, you kind of take the good and the bad, and you just got to keep moving forward, right? Like, even keel. Yep. Really bad happens, bummer, like, keep moving forward, And so, and it was never in a inconsiderate way or anything like that. It was just like, okay, like, let's go, like, we'll get it back next time, So, but yeah, I adore Nancy Harris, and she's just a fantastic human being, and I think all of her players can attest to the spirit and just the love that she has for them. And and Daryl, our assistant there, Daryl is just a fantastic person and coach as well, and it was great to play for them. And then Lee at TCU, I loved playing for Lee Taylor Walker and Christopher Williams at TCU as well. They're just fantastic human beings, fantastic coaches, and they gave me a chance for my grad year after Clemson. And it was just really great to get to play with them, even if it was for 1 year. So.
No, that's cool. And ironically enough, Alex Liatu is on the podcast. She, played at multiple schools. Rebecca Weissmann transferred from USC to LMU. I mean, it is a very common trend of transferring, and how important it is to find that mesh with the right coach. I mean, the school, yes, very important, but that coach player is very important. And that leads me to my last couple questions is, you have such a unique experience now, because my understanding before you became the assistant at Virginia Tech is you were just a standard country club pro. And I can relate to that. I did that for most of my adult life until about 8-9 years ago. And then I put my sales hat on and made tennis part-time. But you have this incredible perspective of helping the average tennis player, and now recruiting for an elite college team. What is really kind of your coaching philosophy based off of everything you've learned as a player?
Yeah, absolutely. I right out of college, I didn't really kind of know what else to do. And my husband's in the military. So we were stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And Swansboro is about 15-20 minutes away from Jacksonville. And there's a club there called Old Port Racket Club. And it's a fantastic, beautiful club. And Joe Bale is the head pro there. And he's awesome. His family is awesome. I just adored their family. And I emailed him. And so I got to play with him and then a couple of the members, and it was really fun. And I just decided to coach. And that gave me such an awesome and unique perspective, because you go from, like, while tennis is I will always enjoy tennis and love it, love competing. And like, it's a different mindset from, I would say, like competing at like a college level to like playing just for fun, you know? And I think that having that perspective of people like, oh, people like want to do this because they genuinely like enjoy it and they just want to have fun with their friends, you know? I think that
Right.
was just a really cool and unique perspective that I didn't really grasp all the way sometimes, just because you're so serious and you're so focused about just like keeping to climb and keep achieving new goals. And obviously you do that in club tennis too, but people do it just like they do it on their own time when it's not like their career or anything like that, just for fun and to compete and have fun with their friends. And so it helped me realize that tennis has so many different facets to it. And because tennis can be pretty cutthroat sometimes, and just like having people who genuinely enjoy it, it just kind of gave me a new perspective and taught me to just really enjoy it, you know?
No, absolutely. And yeah, that is a very unique perspective. And I mean, tennis is a lifelong sport, and there's a lot of people that enjoy the game just as a fun game. And for you to take off that competitive hat and to, you know, dive into more of maybe some of the funner attributes of the game and seeing other people enjoy it in another way must have been really satisfying for you. And, you know, it kind of draws me to the last couple questions, which is, you know, it really resonated with me about you wanting to write something on your arm.
Yeah.
I got one on my arm that's permanent when I had to say goodbye to my mom at 20 years old. And I remember being able to play a tournament after that happened and ended up winning a tournament first time in school history for Northern Colorado, which was unprecedented, but I was fueled by something greater than me.
Absolutely.
You know, if you ever had an opportunity, Tate, based off of everything that you've experienced from that horrific, terrifying moment in high school, from how you were raised, how you grew up, to what you experienced afterwards with the state championship and going on and doing the academy and playing Division I college tennis at the highest level to where you are now as an assistant coach. You have so much perspective. But if you had the ability to, I want to go back to, heck, the auditorium of your school when Claire's parents addressed you guys, and you had an opportunity to hear some words that still resonate with you today. If I was able to call up my buddy Pete Wyrick and say, hey, we got Tate coming into town and she's going to address Arapahoe High School, get the kids in the auditorium. If you had a group of, you know, a few hundred high school kids that you had an opportunity to give them some words of wisdom based off of what you've experienced, what would you say to them?
Yeah. That's a tough question. I mean, even just like with my history with like injuries and kind of persisting through that. I mean, when I got to Virginia Tech, because obviously at Virginia Tech, there was a really horrible tragedy here as well. And that's a very compelling thing in the Blacksburg community and compelling thing for Virginia Tech. And it's part of who we are, really. I mean, it's part of why we're so close, why people love on Virginia Tech and love on the athletics programs and love on the school and just genuinely enjoy it here. And it's definitely a center of why people are motivated to pursue a career or pursue a degree in Virginia Tech with Virginia Tech, and also pursue just loving on the athletic programs or pursue having an athletic career at Virginia Tech. It's a huge part of who we are, which I would say is kind of the same thing for Arapahoe. I think that those words will never leave those students, no matter how, like we have a saying there, and it's warriors always take care of one another. And I think that is definitely always the message that is tried to be, that is passed down. But when I got here, I listened to a speech, and it gave me total goosebumps and made me tear up. But after the shooting at Virginia Tech happened, there's a professor, I think she was an English professor, but she basically has just an incredible speech where she addresses the students and addresses the staff and just the whole community in general. And she kind of lists off a lot of different tragedies, like whether it's a drought in Africa or a famine in Africa or just different things like that. And she says, there are these things that happen on a daily basis. What happened to us? It's horrible and it's terrifying and it's brutal, but we will prevail. Like her ending line is, we will prevail, we will prevail, we will prevail. And that just sticks with me, because look, you're going to have to face some really hard times in your life, no matter who you are, no matter what you go through. Even if you, like, I'm not saying you have, like, everyone's going to have to like experience a shooting at some point, or everyone's going to have to experience some horrific loss at some point, but you are going to face challenges whether you like it or not in life. It's just how life is, but it's what you do and how you can carry yourself through those challenges. Will you shut down? Will you not care for people in those challenges? What will you do in those challenges? And how do you keep persisting? Like, how do you keep moving forward? And so I think being like, if I had one word to try to describe myself as, and describe is like one of the most important things, it would be resiliency. Yeah. Like, you have to keep persisting. You have to keep trying to prevail. It's something that you will always have to have courage for and strength for. And how do you do that? Do you love the people around you? Do you care for them? Are you selfless? What lessons will you teach the people around you? What will they remember you by when you go through these tragedies, And so, yeah, I mean, even if you don't go through anything that's really, really heavy, you're going to have to face challenges. You're going to be told something that you don't like. You're going to have to face something that you don't like, but what will you do in those moments? And that's when that character, that heart really comes in, and that's where it counts,
Yeah. The whole idea around this BTB project is impossible is nothing. And when I say that, what does that mean to you?
Impossible is nothing. Yeah. I mean, that definitely resonates with a lot of kind of what I've gone through and what I try to teach our athletes. I want them to believe in themselves. I want them to keep persisting, keep moving forward, and keep knowing that life is not impossible when you have great people around you and when you have support around you. And how do you build that support for yourself? How do you surround yourself with those people, and keep persisting, and impossible will be nothing, and there's nothing out of reach when you keep believing in yourself and when you keep working.
Well, listen, it breaks my heart to hear some of the injuries you've had to overcome, but I will say that it was an absolute honor to watch you hit a tennis ball a little over 10 years ago, and what you've been able to not only do for really your community, for Rappel High School, for your friends, for your family, and to now pay it forward as a coach. It's just been incredibly humbling, Tate, to have you on the BTB project. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, and this was really great. Thanks for this conversation.
Absolutely. What an incredible testament to a life that was lost far too soon, and the tribute to Claire Davis that Tate had as doing something that was far greater than herself. It's really interesting as we think about Tate's words about how such a difficult circumstance, a tragedy in a community that can bring people together and to have things happen and to overcome and to do things that we never thought we could do. That state championship that Tate won in 2014 was for something that represented something much bigger than her. And as the listener, I believe that's what resonates with me the most is a lot of times in our life, we do a lot of things that are for more of the I situations rather than the we situations. And I challenge each and every one of you to continue to find ways to give back, to support one another, and to do things in community. As at the end of the day, we're all in this together. I'm proud of each and every one of you. And if Tate's story is something that resonated with you today, like and share the episode, and let's continue to pay the mission forward. And until next time, take care.
You're told I'll be a harder temptation.